Shalom Acharei Kedoshim, Tavshin Pei Vav. It's a pleasure to be back here on the home territory. It's been a little while. We've been on the road. Yom Tov of Pesach. Now we're starting Baruch Hashem. We're back here in Bikur Cholim. Very, very interesting parsha this week. Parsha, especially Parshas Kedoshim. So many mitzvahs of the Torah in this week's parsha. It's tough to keep up with it. You try to learn, you try to absorb that when we read about mitzvahs in the Torah this week, between the Haftal Re'acha Kamoicha, Kibbut Ava'im, Shabbos, so many mitzvahs in the parsha. But we're going to try to focus on one pasuk at the beginning of Parshas Kedoshim, the second one of this week's parshas. And the pasuk says, Es-Shabsosai Tishmoiru. The Torah is saying, the Shabbosos, you should keep Shabbos, Umikdashi Tiro, Ani Hashem. So if you look at the lashon of the pasuk, it's very interesting. The wording in the pasuk is, it's a lashon rabim, it's plural. Es-Shabsosai. Last I checked, you could check any calendar, Lakewood calendar, Sakma calendar, everybody, any calendar you want. Zmanim, there's only one Shabbos I know of. Once a week, once every 7 days is Shabbos. What's as Shabsosai Tishmoiru? So Chazal tell us, Mefarshim tell us, that what Shabsosai is alluding to is two different aspects of Shabbos that there are. And it's important for every one of us to know what are these two. If the Torah is calling it Shabbosoi, says Shabsosai Tishmoiru, it's telling us that there's two different parts of Shabbos. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us that there is, firstly, the Shabbos of the Luchos HaRishonos. The Shabbos where it says, Zochor Siyam Shabbos L'Kadshoi, the message over there by the Luchos HaRishonos is the following. Ki sheishes yomim asa Hashem es ha-shamayim v'es ha-oretz es ha-yom v'es kol ha-shabam. Everybody knows you say Shabbos morning in Kiddush, vayonach bayoyim hashvi, and al kain, therefore, beirach Hashem es yom ha-shabbos vayikadashei. What's this pasuk telling us? The pasuk by the Luchos HaRishonos is telling us that the aspect of Shabbos that we're focusing in right now is that when Hashem created the world, Hashem for 6 days created, but then after the 6th day came the 7th day, Vayonach Bayoim Hashvi, and therefore, Al Kain, we have Shabbos Kodesh. That's one aspect of Shabbos. Going back to Maisa Bereshis, 6 days Hashem Kaviyochol work, 7th day rest. So we have the fact that Hashem rested on the 7th day, therefore we rest on the 7th day. That is one aspect of Shabbos. And then, says in the Nesivos Shalom, there's a second aspect of Shabbos, and that's from the Luchos Shniyos. You look in Parshas Vayischanan, where you have the S.S.S. Adibros, right? The second time S.S.S. Adibros in the Torah, it comes from a whole different angle. The pasuk tells us over there, "V'zocharta ki eved hayisa be'eretz Mitzrayim." You should remember, don't forget that you were once an eved in Mitzrayim. What happened? Vayotziacha Hashem alikecha misham. You were an eved in Mitzrayim. Hashem took you out of Mitzrayim. Biyod chazakah uvizroya netuyah. That's how Hashem took us out. And the Torah tells us there a little bit differently. This we don't say in Kiddush on Shabbos morning. Al kain something else. Al kain sivcha Hashem alikecha la'asois es yom haShabbos. Totally different reason. You have to remember you were an eved in Mitzrayim. Hashem took you out. Biyod chazakah uvizroya netuyah. Kodesh Baruch Hu took you out. And to commemorate that, Al Kain, therefore, Sivcha Hashem Alekecha, Hashem commanded you La'asois es yoim ha-Shabbos, to have Shabbos. So we see two totally different angles of Shabbos. So as we all know now, let's look at Kiddush of Friday night. Tomorrow night, with Hashem, you're going to sit down before you have all the dips and before you have the gala and whatever else, you're bringing out all the yummy things that you have on Shabbos. We're going to make Kiddush. And in Kiddush, we mention two things. Zecher l'masei bereishis, which tells us about the Luchos Rishonos, tells us the first aspect of Shabbos. That's connected the first Luchos. And then, besides that, in Kiddush, we also say, as we know, Zecher l'tzias Mitzrayim. You ever wonder why we say both of those things? That's why we say both of those things. To commemorate both reasons for having the Shabbos Kodesh. And the Or Chaim HaKadosh famously tells us, it's a beautiful Or Chaim HaKadosh, he says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Nesivos Shalom speaks about this a number of times throughout the Sfarim, and it's a fascinating way of looking at Shabbos. Or Chaim HaKadosh says that when Hashem originally created the world, you know what the intention was? The intention was that the world should last just for 6 days. It should have a 6 days of duration in the world. Hashem created a world, it's going to last just for 6 days, and after 6 days it was going to go back to be soyu vavoyu. What was before the world, after 6 days everything was going to self-destruct, it was going to be over, and go back to the old plan. So what did Hashem do? Hashem created something new. Hashem created something called the Day of Shabbos. It says the Or Chaim HaKadosh, the Day of Shabbos breathes new life into the Bria every single week, and it gives the world life for another 6 days. The world is supposed to go goodbye. No world after 6 days. Hashem made Shabbos, the Kedusha of Shabbos. Every aspect of Shabbos gives new life to the Bria, and then therefore the world has life for another 6 days after Shabbos, every single week. And it's getting that new, fresh breath of life coming directly from Shabbos Kodesh. And what causes that? It's the people of the world, Bnei Yisrael, who keep Shabbos. We inject the Shabbos with this special characteristic. What gives Shabbos this special juice, this special koyach of Shabbos? That comes from us people in the world of Bnei Yisrael, of Klal Yisrael. So when someone tells you that you keep Shabbos, you're holding up the world, is a new way of looking at this right now. You are taka holding up the world. You're giving Shabbos the koyach to infuse the entire world with the koyach to exist for another 6 days. And that is zikaron l'masei bereishis, a new way of looking at those words in Kiddush, because you know what you're doing? You're taka, it's a zikaron for masei bereishis, but we're having a new masei bereishis every single Shabbos. Every Shabbos, we keep this amazing power of his chachas to propel the world further and forward for the next 6 days. That comes, Zech L'Maseh Bereishis. We are, so to speak, creating worlds once again. That's a true Maseh Bereishis once again. And the second aspect of Shabbos, that also comes from us. We said, what's the second aspect of Shabbos? Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim. What's Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim? There's a famous Maimar Chazal in the Medrash in Vayikra Rabbah. The Medrash tells us that one of the things that Shabbos does to the world is Shabbos is mevi geula l'olam. Shabbos brings geula to the world. And whatever that means, there's a few different methods. Does it mean that if we keep Shabbos, there is a geula? We all know. Just one Shabbos, keep 2 Shabbos, songs, no songs, whatever it is. But geula, it's mevi, Shabbos is mevi geula to the world. So, because during the entire week, we all know, during the week, we're subjected to everybody, a real matzav. During the week, we live in a matzav of galus and darkness, and we're down. But then Shabbos Kodesh comes along, and it brings geula in that regard. What does it mean? Galus, we're still in Galus, we're still here, right? All of us, hopefully, before tomorrow night, we get to, everybody go to Eretz Yisrael together. But what is it? Shabbos, it brings geula. What does geula mean? Geula means that the words of the pasuk that we mentioned by the Luchas Shniyos, it teaches us that as Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, just like we have to remember that just like we were avodim in Mitzrayim and Hashem, and maybe we didn't deserve it then, and still Hashem took us out, so Hashem commanded us right now, every single one of us, every week, to understand that every Shabbos that we are here, every Shabbos does the same thing for us. It takes us out of our personal gullus. And if you get in touch a little bit, you feel like a different person. Shabbos comes, all of a sudden, we're not in darkness, we're not in gullus. Just like in the time, Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, just like in the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, where we were taken out, and we went, Mishibit L'Geula, we went from darkness to light, so too, Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, Shabbos does that to us too. So now between Zeichel Maseh Bereshis and Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, we see Shabbos brings out two of the most important things that we can bring out every single week. Shabbos brings out a hischachas, a renewal of the Bria, and it also brings an emancipation. It brings us of a geula from that we get out of Golus. And these are really not just history lessons. These are important messages for every one of us. What we could take out and we can get out of every Shabbos. How much we could accomplish on a personal level. The Torah tells us, as Shabsoi Sai Tishmoru, the Torah is delivering a message. Shabsoi Sai, there's two things going on here. The different aspects of Shabbos we have to internalize. We have to understand that when it says get out of Golus, it doesn't only mean getting out of a Golus HaKlal. We know it's brought down in many of the Chassidish Svarim, also brought down in the Nesivos Shalom a lot, that Shabbos brings geula, a personal geula. Somebody's going through personal struggle, a personal tzara, a personal thing that's going on in their life that they need help with, they need light, they need something. Shabbos is the time to concentrate. Shabbos is the time to understand that this is where Hashem takes us out of it. As Shabsoi Sai Tishmoru, the two different aspects of Shabbos Kodesh, we say them both in Kiddush tomorrow night when you say Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, you say Zeichel Maseh Bereshis. Understand the lessons that we have to learn from there, and we can use it for ourselves to grow from the Shabbos Kodesh each and every week.